It is truly a travesty that we've allowed our young African American males to be kept out of the loop of education. We could go back for too many different sources and try and pinpoint a cause. But to me, it all comes back down to what we were just discussing a few moments ago, that we've all forgotten who we are, and we've all forgotten to pass principles of manhood on to our young men, and to demonstrate manhood in such a way that they would know what to follow, even if they weren't told it. They could see examples of positive manhood. And we have let ourselves down by virtue of not satisfying that role as men in this society, particularly African American men. Of course, there are always those brothers that have been steadfast and on purpose taking their children to church, their family, been upstanding citizens. But a number of brothers we know have contributed to the single parent families where the mother raised them and the father was nowhere to be found. And that's a dimension. Then you deal with the whole issue of what has evolved into racism in this country. You deal with the issue of economic disparity. You deal with the issue of, again, cultural incompetency when it comes to comprehending how a young black boy thinks, and not knowing that if you don't keep them engaged, they get bored and they start fidgeting and they start doing other things. It just speaks to the fact that you haven't engaged this mind. So then you label that boy as a disruptive element because the rest of the kids are sitting there with their hands folded. Yeah, I would, if I were you as a teacher, I would agree with your assessment, but that's an erroneous assessment from a culturally competent point of view. And so it's very important that we understand what makes a child tick and what makes an educator do what they do, so that they should be able to embrace everybody in their classroom regardless of their background, but especially young men and especially young African American men, to turn this thing around.
In your view, what are three critical imperatives regarding the improving of the education of the African American male?
Three critical imperatives to improve the education of the African American male.